Tonight on Global TV News Prime, Inspector General of Police Disu reaffirms commitment to police reform, state policing. In business, Africa's top policymakers meet in Abuja to tackle global economic uncertainty. On the foreign scene, British Prime Minister Burnham relaunches bid for National Elderly Care Service. And in sport, Super Falcons vow to bounce back in must-win clash versus Zambia. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276 and Free TV. And now the news and details. President Bola Tinubu has reassured Nigerians that the ongoing restructuring of the nation's security operations will lead to the defeat of terrorism, banditry and kidnapping across the country. Speaking at the State House in Abuja while receiving the leadership of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, led by its president, Archbishop Matthew Ndagoso, the president said the country's security architecture is being repositioned for greater efficiency. Kikelamo Kere has details.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says his administration is strengthening intelligence gathering, restructuring security institutions, improving logistics, and enhancing welfare of frontline security personnel to tackle insecurity. He called on religious leaders to support government efforts by condemning violent attacks and encouraging their congregation to promote peace and national unity. The president also announced the expansion of the armed forces, including the acquisition of new military equipment and the construction of additional barracks, expressing confidence that terrorism will be defeated.
Have another country, but here, this Nigeria, and we revert to our national anthem. In this complexity, diversity, we shall thrive, live, rejoice, and be good to all of us as humanity.
On the economy, President Tinubu maintained that Nigeria has moved away from the threat of bankruptcy, saying economic reform has stabilized the country and placed it on the path of prosperity. He highlighted government intervention such as the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NELFund) as part of effort to improve access to education and reduce poverty. The president urged Nigerian, particularly young people, to embrace education, entrepreneurship, and skills acquisition to take advantage of emerging opportunities.
You can't say 4 years course is not 4 years. ASUU is not on strike. They are not bringing agony to your homes. Is that not an answer to our prayers?
Responding, Archbishop Matthew Ndagoso commended the president for receiving the Vatican delegation earlier this year, but raised concern over insecurity, poverty, access to quality education, and the need for credible election in 2027. He also called for fair treatment of all worshippers and the possible return of the nation's schools.
You to encourage elected political office holders who are members of your party, governors, members of the National Assembly, local government chairmen, to ensure that a genuine level playing field is maintained and that focus is placed on making everyone see that the rules and processes are fair to all and respected by all.
As the administration promises a renewed security offensive, the Catholic Bishop has urged faster action on security, poverty, and education, placing renewed focus on how government commitment translates into improved safety and living conditions for Nigerians. Kikelamo Okere, Global TV News.
Meanwhile, President-elect of the Nigerian Bar Association, Oyinkansola Badejo Okunsoya, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has pledged to unite members of the legal profession and heal divisions within the association ahead of her inauguration at the end of August. Badejo Okunsoya gave the assurance after a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. Kikelomo Okere reports.
The president-elect of the Nigerian Bar Association, Oyinkansola Badejo Okunsoya, says her administration will focus on reconciliation, inclusiveness, and institutional stability as she prepares to assume office next month. Speaking with journalists after meeting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja, Badejo Okunsoya said she has already begun consultations with members and stakeholders across association to address concerns arising from the recently concluded NBA election. She said the engagement is aimed at fostering unity within the legal professions and strengthening the association role in serving the society.
Well, he congratulated me on the victory. We talked about the challenges of electronic voting and technology, and we spoke about the ways that in which we can continue to improve on our processes. It was very encouraging.
Badejo Okunsoya, the first woman elected president of the Nigerian Bar Association, is expected to be inaugurated at the end of August. The incoming NBA president said she remained committed to working with members and stakeholders to strengthen the association and advance its role in promoting justice, the rule of law, and public confidence in Nigerian legal profession.
My swearing in is not until the end of August. In the meantime, I continue to reach out to members, to stakeholders, so that we can work together to improve things, to heal the hurt anyone has, and to just continue to ensure that we do things to make sure that the NBA continues to fulfill its role to society. Everything that needs to be done, I can assure members and the public that I will do. We'll make sure that we unite ourselves. We'll make sure that we put our house in order.
With preparation for handover underway, attention now shifts to how the incoming NBA leadership will bridge internal divisions and steer the association through a period of renewed expectations for the legal professions and the administration of justice in Nigeria. Kikelomo Okere, Global TV News.
Nigeria Police Force has reaffirmed its commitment to sustain police reform, development of a framework for state policing, and stronger collaboration with strategic security institutions to enhance internal security. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, stated this while receiving the leadership, management, and participants of the National Defense College on a courtesy visit to the force headquarters in Abuja. Here's Kikelomo Okere with details.
The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, reiterated the force's commitment to deepen institutional collaboration with the National Defense College and other strategic partners in promoting effective policing, internal security, and national development. The Inspector General of Police also commended the officers for producing a scholarly and practical study with recommendation informed by global best practice. He described a research paper presented by the police participants at the college as timely and relevant to Nigeria's evolving security challenges, noting that its findings would provide a solid foundation for shaping framework for state policing.
Went to India, Ethiopia, and some other countries, and even the United States of America, where they have already had experience of state policing, who have faced the rigors of failures and correction. There's no better way of adopting it by examining states, countries who have embarked on it, so that we can gain from their wealth of experience.
Earlier, the commandant of the National Defense College, Rear Admiral Abdullahi Ahmed, says the research was conducted entirely by police officers undergoing college program, with faculty members providing only academic guidance. He expressed confidence that the recommendation will contribute meaningfully to ongoing police reform and strengthen the capacity of Nigerian police force to tackle emerging security threats.
Against this backdrop of the complex and growing internal security challenges confronting our nation, there is an increasing need to continue reviewing policy structure and setting institutional mechanisms for effective maintenance of law and order. The national discourse on the establishment of state police has in recent times assumed greater prominence as governments, security practitioners, policymakers, and other stakeholders continue to explore sustainable options for enhancing Nigeria's internal security architecture.
The visit underscores the growing partnership between the Nigerian Police Force and the National Defense College in advancing research-driven policing strategies and strengthening institutional capacity to address Nigeria's evolving security challenges. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global TV News.
Now to Oyo State, where Governor Seyi Makinde says the arrival of 2 security surveillance aircrafts marks a phase in the state's fight against crimes and insecurity. The governor spoke in Ibadan while taking delivery of the aircraft at the Ladoke Akintola International Airport, describing the development as a major boost to security operations across the state. The report.
Governor Seyi Makinde says the deployment of the surveillance aircraft will improve intelligence gathering, enhance aerial monitoring, and enable security agencies to respond faster to criminal activities across Oyo State. He explained that the decision was driven by the need to effectively monitor the state's large geographical area and complete the effort of security personnel on ground. The governor stressed that the acquisition is part of a long-term security strategy and not a reaction to the recent kidnapping incident in Oriri local government area.
Plan for the aircraft, for us to be able to cover as much within the shortest possible time of the landmass in Oyo State. I'm glad.
Makinde said the aircraft will begin operations immediately and will be flown by the Nigerian Air Force pilots under a partnership agreement between the Oyo State government and the military. He also expressed relief over the safe return of the abducted pupils and teachers from Oriri, describing it as a positive development for the state. The governor assured residents that his administration will continue to prioritize security, insisting that a safe environment remains critical to economic growth and development.
Surveillance aircraft, it was because of the sheer landmass, the size of Oyo State. We knew that we had to complement the boots on ground. We didn't know Orire was going to happen. I've seen people criticize us and say, "Oh, where's the aircraft?" Now they require it at Orire.
With the deployment of aerial surveillance technology, Oyo State joins the growing number of states adopting intelligence-driven security measures as authorities intensify efforts to stay ahead of criminal threats and protect lives and properties. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global TV News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has reaffirmed its readiness for the August 15 Osun State governorship election by extending the collection of permanent voter cards, tightening security arrangement, and strengthening logistics to ensure a credible, peaceful, and timely polls. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Oshogbo, INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amopiton also assured political parties and voters that these measures are designed to guarantee a free, fair, credible, and secure the governorship election across Osun State. Anita Patrick reports.
We shall continue to work closely.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says no eligible voter will be disenfranchised ahead of the August 15 Osun governorship election as it extends the collection of permanent voter cards until Friday, July 31st. The decision follows the collection of more than 2,000 PVCs, representing about 60% of newly registered voters. Speaking at a stakeholders meeting in Oshogbo, INEC Chairman Professor Josh Amopito assures political parties that the Commission will strictly enforce its transport agreements with drivers' unions to guarantee the neutral movement of personnel and sensitive election materials. To ensure early commencement of voting, the Commission says 97 super registration area centers and 105 registration area centers have been activated with election officials, security personnel, and materials scheduled for deployment a day before the election. On security, Professor Amopiton discloses that security agencies have been directed to clamp down on thuggery, cult activities, and any attempt to disrupt the poll. Flashpoints across the states will receive special security deployments, while over 4,400 Beavers machines with additional backup devices have been deployed to support a seamless accreditation process. INEC says 14 political parties will participate in the election, while urging political actors, supporters, and voters to uphold peace and allow the electoral process to reflect the will of the people. Anietie Patrick, Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello, glad to have you with us once again. It was a wet Wednesday weather-wise. This satellite imagery showing weather systems dotting the country is a classical signature of steady, moist southwesterly winds feeding into the country. So the rains have been steady, a few breaks, and then the rains pick up again. This is the weather picture we expect to persist into Thursday as there are prospects of rains across the country. There's also a heightened chance of flash flooding over the coastal parts of the southwest, the tip of the southeast, and the north from Borno up to Kano State. Temperatures, especially nighttime temperatures, will also be on the low side, and so covering properly for sensitive groups and toddlers is highly recommended from our end. Thank you for watching, and see you again.
Welcome back from that break. And in business news, African policymakers, financial experts, and business leaders have converged in Abuja for the 7th African Emerging Markets Forum to discuss strategies for tackling global economic uncertainty. The forum, hosted at the Central Bank of Nigeria headquarters, is focusing on strengthening resilience, expanding investment opportunities, and promoting financial inclusion across emerging African economies. Participants are also expected to explore policy measures that will improve regional economic stability amidst growing global market volatility. The House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream has begun consultations with key players in Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector as part of efforts to bridge differences over fuel importation and domestic refining while strengthening the nation's energy security. The engagements brought together major industry operators, including the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, and the Major Energies Market Association of Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Anietie Patrick reports.
Chairman of the House Committee on Petroleum Resources Downstream, Ikenga Ugochinyere, said the House is committed to developing reforms through consultation rather than confrontation would be introduced without the input of critical stakeholders. He noted that Nigeria's expanding domestic refining capacity, changing import dynamics, and ongoing reforms require close collaboration between government and industry operators to guarantee stable fuel supply and affordable energy for Nigerians.
Nigeria stands at a defining moment in her energy history. Domestic refining capacity is growing. Importation dynamics are shifting. Pipeline security remains a national priority.
During the interactive session, DAPMAN's Executive Secretary Olufemi Adewale called for practical implementation of operating stock provisions under the Petroleum Industry Act, improved infrastructure, and stronger markets monitoring to enhance product availability.
DAPMAN members are key players in ensuring fuel availability across the country. Since the establishment of the first private depots in 1998, members have collectively improved, sustained, and strengthened Nigeria's energy infrastructure, supporting fuel importation, storage, and distribution capabilities.
IPMAN's chairman, Abubakar Shetima, identified high financing costs, foreign exchange volatility, poor transport infrastructure, and limited access to refinery products as major challenges confronting independent marketers, urging lawmakers to support reforms that would lower distribution costs and attract investments.
Let's encourage Nigerian refiners, because in the other days we fully depend on importation. But now today, Nigerians have started exporting petroleum products outside.
The Executive Secretary of MEMAN, Clement Isong, backed increased domestic refining but cautioned against a complete halt to fuel imports, insisting that strategic imports should remain an option to safeguard national energy security during supply disruptions.
As a country, we do like having local refining. It is extremely important that we fully beneficiate our crude oil at home.
Stakeholders say continued dialogue between lawmakers, regulators, and operators will be critical to achieving a competitive downstream petroleum sector capable of guaranteeing reliable fuel supply while supporting Nigeria's long-term energy security. From the National Assembly, Anyetie Patrick, Global TV News.
On the foreign scene, the United Kingdom is set to overhaul its adult social care system as Prime Minister Andy Burnham unveils plans to relaunch his long-standing campaign for a national care service aimed at improving support for elderly and vulnerable citizens. The announcement came during a visit to Jewish Centre in North London alongside Health Secretary Yvonne Cooper, where the government outlined proposals for sweeping reforms to address growing pressure facing the country's social care sector. Samuel Odi reports.
The proposed National Care Service is designed to deliver more consistent, accessible and high-quality care across England while easing the burden on families and local authorities struggling with rising demand. The Prime Minister says the reforms are expected to focus on improving care standards, strengthening the workforce, expanding support for older adults and people living with disabilities, and creating a more sustainable funding framework for long-term care.
It's a major dereliction of public duty that Parliament has not faced up to this, of all challenges, something so fundamental to life as this. It's shameful, to be honest, that politicians have put point scoring before fixing this issue. And the first thing is to ask Baroness Casey Louise to bring forward her review by a year. So working with Yvette and with Angela and other colleagues, we want to expedite that review. We ideally want to do it even sooner, but we've got to be realistic. But if we say a year from now that we have that independent review, then I think we can rise to this challenge with the urgency it requires.
The initiative also seeks to better integrate health and social care service, reducing pressure on hospitals and ensuring vulnerable people receive timely care in their homes and communities.
And now in sports, Nigeria Super Falcons will face Zambia on Saturday in a crucial Group C match as the 2026 Women African Cup of Nations following their shock opening defeat to Malawi. Victory has become essential for the defending champions as they seek to keep alive their hopes of winning a record 11th extending continental title. Zambia, also considered one of the tournament's favorites, is expected to provide Nigeria with one of its toughest tests in the group stage of the Games. As Global TV News Prime comes to an end, here is a recap of our top stories. We brought to you that the Nigerian Police Force has reaffirmed its commitment to sustain police reforms, development of a framework for state police, and stronger collaboration with strategic security institutions to enhance national security. In business, African policymakers, financial experts, and business leaders have converged in Abuja for the 7th African Emerging Market Forum to discuss strategies for tackling global economic uncertainty. On the foreign scene, United Kingdom is set to overhaul its adult social care system as Prime Minister Andy Burnham unveils plans to relaunch his long-standing campaign for a national care service aimed at improving support for elderly and vulnerable citizens. And in sports, Nigeria Super Falcons will face Zambia on Saturday in a crucial Group C match at the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations following their shock opening defeat to Malawi. And that's it on News Prime. Here is a quick reminder. Global Television is on DSTV channel 365, StarTimes channel 276, and Free TV. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now displaying on your screen by using Global TV NG. My name is Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.